It has been a week of campaigning in the province at all levels of government. We've seen new faces in municipal races. We're less than 40 days from the provincial election, and Premier Moe had some suggestions for the Prime Minister. To look at this week's big stories in politics, I'm joined by CBC reporter Adam Hunter. Adam, the government has done a series of re-announcements around schools this week. What's going on there?
Yes, these are announcements, almost one a day this week, from Blaine Lake to Saskatoon, Moose Jaw, and Regina, then again in Regina today. These are, in many cases, actually joint use schools, Catholic and public, in a lot of these centers. And as you mentioned, Sam, these are re-announcements of things that were either in the budget or announced as part of the government's economic booster shot, which they announced in May at $2 billion for infrastructure, part of a $7.5 billion, $2 billion, part of a $7.5 billion infrastructure fund for the next 2 years. Premier Moe said that these aren't pre-election photo ops, even though he's standing in front of many MLAs from the area that are up for re-election. He says that these were announcements they wanted to do earlier, but they couldn't because of the pandemic. Ryan Miley says that they're exactly that. They are pre-election campaigning, that Premier Moe should say that. He says it's been done before. It's not necessarily a big deal, but that's what we're seeing so far. We're seeing announcements from Ryan Miley almost daily as well as he's kicking off his election platform. And as you mentioned, Sam, we're still under 40 days from an election call, but we could get that call as early as late next week. That's the time period when they can start campaigning by the rules.
Now, ahead of next week's federal throne speech, the Premier also had some suggestions for the Prime Minister this week.
Yeah, he sent a letter to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. This has been one of Premier Scott Moe's preferred methods of communication with the Prime Minister. He has sent a letter in the past, on the carbon tax and other issues. This letter, again, is asking for the federal government to pause the carbon tax. We'll have the Supreme Court hearing on the carbon tax, Ontario and Saskatchewan, in court next week, early next week, to discuss that. Premier Moe saying that until that has been decided by the Supreme Court, which could take a few months, we should pause the carbon tax. The federal government has no appetite for that right now. He also took shot at the potential for a green agenda, an ambitious green agenda, which has been rumored to be announced in that throne speech by the Liberal government. Premier Scott Moe saying that he doesn't want that to in any way harm Saskatchewan's energy industry. Today, there are four premiers from Canada, from Manitoba, Ontario, Alberta, and Quebec are meeting as part of a advance to the throne speech to put out some of their demands. Scott Moe is not there, but they have some similar concerns, albeit a little bit different given their regions. But we're going to hear a lot of premiers asking for things. The big ask right now, Sam, is healthcare because of COVID-19 and what those provinces need in federal transfers from the federal government. Also, things to help spur the economy, given the number of people that haven't been working over the last number of months.
Thanks for this, Adam.
You're welcome.